Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey guys, so we recently checked out the really cool new movie, The Mannequin, and with us to discuss it is the star Isabella Gomez. Welcome to the show, Isabella.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh,
I
our
watched the movie
pleasure.
today. It was super cool. It had too many jump scares because I'm a chicken. I don't like jump scares, but this one
You're
had some really good
kidding.
ones. Yeah. For somebody that hosts a horror podcast, I'm notorious for my how easily startled I am.
Well, that's kind
So
of fun.
yeah, yeah. So, but this one had some really cool moments like that. So, but before we get into the movie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the in acting?
Yeah. I was born in Colombia and I was around 6 years old, and my mom's best friend was in the industry, and I'm an only child. I'm a double Leo. I'm very precocious. And they needed a little girl for a commercial and they couldn't find her. So they were like, could you just bring her in, see if it works? And they put me in front of a camera, and I just like the rest is history. I was like, this is it forever. And so then I was just doing little stuff in Colombia, and then I moved to the States when I was 10 and I started training like crazy. And yeah, I've been doing it pretty consistently ever since.
That's
It's
awesome.
awesome. Yeah, because yeah. So I read. I think I guess so. You moved to at one point. You moved from Columbia to Florida, right? And
Yeah.
then you moved out to California, of course, where
I was there for 7 years. It's a weird place to grow up.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say too. I was gonna say, well, you had to come to Hollywood, but Tim, where Tim lives in North Carolina, there he lives in Wilmington. There's a big film
Ugh, and the
boom going
best
over there.
place. I love North Carolina, and everybody's so like kind. Very different than LA.
Yeah. Southern hospitality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tim represents that to a T, by the way. Of course, he's like Tim and
Yeah.
his wife. They're like they'll like as super as friendly as you can get. So it's awesome. But so you've done before we get in, we're gonna get into the mannequin, of course. But before we just so you've done a number of TV shows. Notably, of course, the One Day at a Time reboot, the Head of the Class. And you're also on Goldberg's, which is a personal favorite of mine. I love that
Oh
show.
yeah.
And I loved your character on that. So that's I've seen every episode of that multiple times.
Oh.
Like what's the difference between doing like, the TV versus film? Like, is there any different challenges that you found, or do you prefer one or the other?
Um, I think it depends so much more, I feel like, on genre. Like One Day at a Time and Head of the Class were proper sitcoms. One Day at a Time we did in front of a studio audience, like fourth wall, the whole nine. And so you rehearse for 3 days out of the week and then you shoot the next two, which is much more like theater. I think it like makes you much more of like a company and like thespian-y per se. Whereas for single cams or movies, you just kind of show up, get into hair and makeup, and they scream action, and you try your best, like not to drown. Um, so I'm a big sitcom girly. I love it, and I had the incredible privilege, of course, of working with Norman Lear, who like is king of sitcoms,
Oh
and
yeah.
the way that he handles like I think comedy is the best way to process life. I don't know what my therapist would say about that, but I think it is. And so to be able to talk about things like that through comedy, I think is very special. However, horror, close second. Like, I
Nice.
want to be in blood doing night shoots at all times.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's what we like to hear. And
Yeah.
actually, but with those shows, like One Day at a Time, look, and you mentioned Norman Lear, of course. I mean, his resume is like ridiculous with the
Mhm.
the, the legendary shows. Yeah, but was there any like what was it like being like kind of resurrecting those classics?
I was very lucky to be very ignorant of what we were doing.
Well, you're
Um,
way too young to be to know these when
exactly.
they were on the air. And I'm like little
Yeah.
Brian who watched these
God.
growing up. Yeah.
Oh my
God.
God.
Yeah.
Thank God. But yeah, when I auditioned when I was 17 and I booked it when I was 18. And so people were like, "Oh yeah, Norman Lear is in that room," and I'm like, "Whose grandpa is this? Like, what are we doing here?" Um, so I ignorance is bliss, and I got to do that whole first season in this little bubble of like it was my first like lead role in a series. It was the most incredible cast. It was the most incredible group of people, and no part of my brain put it together what we were doing and what a meaningful situation it was, and not only to reboot a Norman Lear, but to like have the LGBTQ aspect, have the Latino aspect. It was just so topical. And I think if I had known, I would have freaked out. I would have lost my mind. So I just kind of went in and like did it for funsies. And the other thing about it too is that Norman is or was, Jesus Christ, the most like down to earth, curious person. So like you know that he's a legend and you know all of the things that he's done, but when you talk to him, he literally I called him Grandpa Norman. Like he was
Yeah.
so cool. And that was really awesome to get to work with that caliber of talent without the preconceived like notions that you might expect from somebody at that level.
So cool. I love hearing that. And it was funny too when I was when we were first I was prepping for the interview. I mixed texted Tim in a way. I think I confused him and I said something about how the movie was really good and it was in the you were in the reboot of One Day at a Time and I somehow we got it mixed up and he thought it was like a horror I said, "No, but that would make a great horror version of that. Imagine a One Day at a Time horror movie. I mean,
That would be
that would
kind
be
of sick.
awesome."
That would be kind of sick.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like who knows what Schneider would do, he's gonna
He'd be the murderer, of
Oh
course.
yeah,
course.
you gotta be
Got that
terrified of
tool belt,
Schneider.
he's got the, it's got everything on there. But
Exactly.
Yeah,
see, we like to put humor through things too. So we,
I think my daughter watched I watched One Day at a Time as well, but I think she watched it and really liked it. I have to ask her.
How old
And
is she?
she is she's just turned 16.
Whoa.
But she's a sitcom girly too. She's watched Full House, the entire run of Full House, I believe 14 times,
Oh,
which is
it's the
oh
all
my
nine
best show.
God.
seasons.
It's the best. Uncle Jesse, are you kidding
Yes.
me?
So
Yeah.
she is all about the sitcom. So
Hell yeah.
Sitcoms are so great. I like I know we're a horror podcast, but we've mentioned different things on here all the time. And I sitcoms are to me are like my comfort zone. Like every night, like I'll throw on like when I'm just like working on something, I'll throw on like Big Bang Theory reruns on TBS or or watch Friends and just anything that I can like for some reason there's just like some kind of warm comfort like with that in the
So homey.
background.
Yeah.
Right?
The
Yeah.
people you grow up with, I feel like it's so lacking in America right now to have a sitcom that brings people together, and it shows.
yeah, they don't make them
Oh,
like they
definitely.
really don't make them like they used to,
They
and
don't. A
occasionally
sitcom
they'll
nowadays. Oh my
and
God.
like One Day at a Time was cool because it was trying to resurrect like the that old format, which
Hmm.
you don't see much anymore. And it also has that to me is one of the top five TV theme songs of all time.
Oh yeah.
In my opinion, I
The
love that theme
best.
song.
And
Yes,
Gloria Stefan redoing it, I was like, are you kidding? Like she couldn't get more iconic if she tried.
Right?
yeah, that was
That's
great.
awesome.
So let's get into the mannequin. Tell us a little bit about this movie and your character that you play.
So the mannequin is a really cool little mix. I feel like normally you get either like paranormal or bloody, gory murder, and this does both. We are following Liana, who at the beginning of the movie we see her lose her sister to an apparent suicide. And this doesn't sit right with her. It doesn't sit right with a lot of people. And they start looking into the history of the building, and turns out there was a serial killer there who like actively had his murders in this building and now is a ghost. And so it combines all of the things. Like it's scary and jump scary and like paranormal, but also this is like a regular group of friends. And mind you, the cast is a real group of friends. This is our second movie together. And so there's so much fun and like specificity and weird little nuances of the characters that I adore.
It was
Yeah, I
funny.
think
That was our next question about the cast that you worked with. But I'll let Tim finish his
yeah,
thing and
no,
then
no. I mean, you could tell that came
yeah.
across that the cast because while I was watching it, I was like, I bet they had a blast making this movie
Oh my
because
God, we had the best time. We
they just
shot it
seemed like
in
they did.
12 days. It was
Wow.
Wow, that's
insanity. We had 3 to 4 takes per scene. So that was a whole situation. But our director, John Berardo, our writer director, we had done another film in 2020 and we were supposed to go to South by and then the pandemic, yada yada. And so he was like, you know what? I'm gonna write another movie for the same exact cast so that like they actually get to experience what it would have been like if the world hadn't shut down. And yeah, we're like it's some of my favorite people. Gabriela Rivera, who plays my sister, is my best friend. We were living together at the time that we were shooting the
oh,
movie.
that's awesome.
Yeah, like it was just, it felt like summer camp from beginning to end. It did not feel like work.
I love hearing
Yeah.
stories like that because we've had a number of people on where their cast has been like that and it's so close. And and like Tim said, it really shows. But also, your character, like I think it must. I assume it might have helped too because your character is such a great character in this, and like you do an amazing job. I mean, with the range of emotions you have to go through in this film, without trying to be too spoilery. Um, but and it's like I feel like it's like one moment you're like kind of like chuckling at something, and then at one point you're like creeping out. My dog got creeped out actually by the music, and he never notices anything on TV. But there was one sequence, and like the music like pitched up really loud, and he was like
I was like,
he like
uh-oh.
tensed up in his couch, and I'm like, oh my god, this is what
We had
you've hit it
incredible.
well.
Now, what you said about it being a mix is totally accurate because I went into this totally blind. I didn't know anything about what it was about, and I was fully expecting it was Killer Mannequin kind of thing, like the old Mannequin movie from the '80s, but instead of a comedy, it's a slasher. But I was like super pleasantly surprised that it's much deeper than that, and it's not what you would expect without giving any spoilers away, but it definitely goes places you don't expect, and I love that about it as well.
Yeah. That end is twisty. You're like, are you kidding?
Yeah, it was great.
And I watched it a
Absolutely.
second time, and there's a tease in it, and I can't remember now what it was. I was trying to remember this, but there's a little bit of a hint on like it's kind of like like an interesting foreshadowing, and they kind of like
Oh,
tease it in the
right.
very opening sequence. Sorry, the opening sequence where you and your sister's character
Mhm.
are talking to the guy, and he makes a comment, and I'm like. And it wasn't until the second time I watched it, I'm like, oh, I wonder if that's like supposed to be foreshadowing, when he talks about collabing and and it kind of all like kind of gives a little bit of a
Mhm.
foreshadow away, but not much. I think it's still done so brilliantly that you don't know what's coming at the end, and it like hits you. Like I said, it was the second time I watched it I noticed
Right.
anything like that. So, and not to put you on the spot, but what do you think of that like what's the actress that they're making into like she's not real, she's like an AI thing, right? What's Tilly something,
Oh,
right?
here's the thing, you guys. I'm honestly not educated enough on AI to have crazy, crazy opinions besides the fact that somehow I'm 27 and already getting like left behind by the times and like very happy about it. Like I already feel like that old lady that's like, I don't care that I won't know how to work my phone. I think that the industry has already been on such a weird timeline for some time now. There's so many shifts, there's so many mergers, the strikes, the all of this. And to now try to take away artistry in this way is so, can I curse on this podcast?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so beyond fucked. It's like truly horrific. And I'm I'm one of those actors that's like the craft and like the artistry of it and like the ephemeralness of like humanity and the like errors that it comes with and the magic that it creates. And so I not only think it's bullshit, but I also think it's incredibly dangerous. I think a lot of people don't read their contracts, and if they do, they don't really understand them. So to have this thing that you might be signing away your like image or your likeness or your voice or your ideas or whatever it is so that we be replaced by AI actors is um diabolical.
I couldn't agree with
Good
you
word.
more. Yes, we've actually we've had our discussions, our little text group too. We're just like, re- you know, really, there's like, there's, and especially when you see like, and I'm not trying to like just like, to butter you up or something, but like, when you see good performances that you give all the time, it's like, what you can't replicate that. I don't care what you say because there's a natural emotional thing that I don't care how many the highest form of AI is never going to capture that, in my opinion.
Never.
So.
And hopefully it just like my in my head it'll make the pendulum swing so far back where we're like, oh, this is an art. And like we
Yeah.
are not connected to each other as humans anymore and we're so far apart that like we're dying. And then hopefully then the pendulum will swing back and we'll be like, oh yeah, like we need the connection for it to mean something.
I
Sort of how I
agree.
did with CGI, because in some, not completely obviously with CGI, but there was a pushback to
Yeah.
practical effects that's happened, and you see more movies using practical effects and kind of getting away from the CGI
Yeah. And
in
it's
some
so much
instances.
cooler when they do like the tidbits of like what is it? Is it the a Spider-Man movie with the tray that they throw it up and he catches every tray and that like it took like dozens of takes because they really did it. And I'm like, it makes it so much cooler. Why wouldn't you want to add that texture into your film?
Yeah, wait, I was just gonna say one more thing too about that. The with the practical effects, especially in horror, what I think is so cool is because most of like at least our generation, you're still obviously we you're much younger, so you don't remember the 80s horror boom that Tim and I remember where we got into horror. But that was what part of
Mm.
what drew it in, those practical effects, those like gore that like just like you could kind of tell it wasn't real, but it looked cool anyway. And like that kind of stuff, when you take that away, it's like there's just something missing. So now I love that directors, like especially horror directors, are really pushing back to get
Yeah.
those practical effects in their movies.
Which again is just other artists like we all of our stuff was pretty much practical and our incredible like makeup and effects artist pulled some shit that you're like, how do you like to be there and be able to witness it? You're like, oh, this is artistry and this is like so sick and it looked amazing. Like, I don't think this is a spoiler. There's a gunshot in the movie at some
Yeah.
point. That was all done. Like, I watched her set up the rig and like do it, and I was like, this, how, what a cool art and what a cool craft that like I do actually think is coming back and it makes it so much more fun on set too to be able to actually see everything instead of them be like, okay, now you're gonna pretend that there are ghosts here and act like you're super scared. Go.
That the hand part freaked me out. I have
Oh.
when I see fingers, and a little bit of a spoiler. When I see fingers going the wrong way or mangled, I'm just like, oh, I can't. Fingers and eyeballs, I can't handle.
Totally. And when you get both in this one.
I know. Thank you very much for that.
And jump scares.
Yeah, you
Yay.
got it all. You basically got the me and Tim trifecta right there.
Yeah, so Isabella, we've had other movies that feature locations that are like super cool. I thought this one had a really cool set. There's this
Yeah.
amazing building that's, I don't know why it looks creepy, because like on paper you probably wouldn't consider it creepy, but for some reason this movie just it feels sinister. Like, what can you tell us about the like this building that you
I
guys
mean,
filmed it?
it's literally just a building in downtown LA, and we shot this during the strike. And so because we had the permission to do it, there was a lot of people out of work, and we got to kind of get to pick like the best of everybody because nobody was working. And so our cinematographer, lighting, the arts team, like the way that they transformed this space, I agree. Like it would like when I first saw it when we had been scouting or when we like first like whatever, I was like, okay, a building. It's a building. And then when we got there to shoot, it was so eerie and it was so creepy and just like lived in. I also just think there's something about horror is so usually set in far off places, in a forest, in a whatever, like the isolation bit is very prominent. And there was something so weird about feeling like you were like in a fishbowl and like you can see the cars passing and you can hear people in downtown and you know you're not alone and that still is not going to save you. That I think also really added to the creepiness of it.
Yeah, because usually horror has more of an isolation aspect and or really like confined situation, like, and then this is like wide open, bright spaces, and you still found a way to make it incredibly creepy, by just looking, like especially when you just looked at in the shots where you look down, the stairs. Well, then you just hear
Mhm.
sounds and stuff like that. And like that takes a good like some talent to make a wide open Like literally, it looked like the thing, the apartment from Big that he rented. Remember where he had all
Yeah.
the toys and he went around? But you guys, like, instead, you guys made it like a creep fest in there, so that's kind of
Yeah.
awesome.
It was super, super sick. We had an incredible team.
That's awesome. So, what you kind of touched on this before that we know now you're a big horror fan, and we couldn't be more excited to hear that. But so what are some of your favorites?
Ooh. I feel like, okay, I got in during, I was in middle school when Paranormal Activity came out, and I just loved it. I'm a big, if I want to be truly scared, it has to be paranormal. I love gore. That doesn't scare me though. Like, I love it. I just think it's so sick to look at. So, like, anything like, um, what are the ones? Final Destinations,
Oh
in
yeah.
Mhm.
specifically the
Oh, I
third
love
one.
those.
Yes. Anything like the Chainsaw Massacre, like gory, crazy, like we're just watching buckets of blood. Immediately, yes. Um, which was my other, oh my God, what is it called? Oh my God, why am I blanking on this? The one that they use so many gallons of blood at the end where it rains blood.
Oh, was it
Right
Dead
now?
Alive, baby?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that. Oh, I love that one.
A
Yeah.
perfect film. A perfect film.
Yeah.
Like, why would you ever, or is it, wait, is it that, it's Evil Dead, right?
Oh well, okay.
Evil
So Dead
Dead. Yep.
Alive was Peter Jackson. Evil Dead is
Evil
yeah,
Dead.
it's probably
Yes.
Evil Dead. Yeah.
Yes. A perfect film. What else do I love? I liked the beginning of like the Conjuring world. It later got a little more far off for me. Like I was like, I'm not as scared. But anything like that that's like, oh, there's a haunted whatever and we're all screaming at the screen being like, don't read the fucking book and they
Yeah.
do. Yes.
That's awesome. Well, see, at least you got some good things there. Because, like, it's like it's people always ask me, they're like, "Oh, you do a horror podcast. What's your favorite?" And I'm like, and it's hard. So I appreciate you even like tolerating us asking that question because I know it's like because I'm like, all right, well, I mean, if I had to pick one, it's this, and the top five is this. But then
Yeah.
if in this category, it's that. So yeah, it's
Totally.
hard. It's a hard
Yeah.
question. But I appreciate you
Heck yeah.
the humoring us with the answer.
And I have an honorable mention. I just watched Barbarian.
Oh, that's a great.
Yes.
I love
That's a
that.
great movie.
Speak about a movie that could be separate genres, because the beginning of that movie, I was like, this is a romantic comedy. These
Yeah,
two
right?
had me kicking my feet and giggling. Who are they? I love them. I want them to fall deeply and madly in love. And then it turns, and you're like, oh no. And I thought it was perfect.
Yeah, he's like one of the directors that you need to keep an eye on, Zach Kreger, because his Weapons was amazing, and he's got another one in the works now that's coming out. It's going to be good. I will give you a tip to watch something that's fun. Now that you mention that, you have to watch both though. You got to watch the first one, or the second one is more like that one. But if you heard of the Adult Swim U-Log,
No.
so it's on HBO Max, both of them.
Okay,
And I'm just gonna say it's like I'm not just going blind and
great.
watch it, but I guarantee you will enjoy both of them. But it's just you're not gonna expect what happens. It's just
That's how I like
off
to
the
watch
wall
any
bonkers.
movies anyway, so perfect.
Yeah, they're absolutely bonkers movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Um, so Isabella, do you have any plans beyond acting? Like, are you interested in writing? Are you interested in directing? Any of those kind of
I'm
things?
interested in being unemployed. Like
Don't
As
we
are
all
we
these
all.
days? Oh my
a
God.
job.
Yeah.
Yes and no. I think if the right thing came, I love being an actor and I really do I love being an employee. I think there's something very liberating about walking onto a set and being like, none of this is up to me. Like,
Mhm.
go off. I actually did a short with Todd Grinnell, who played Schneider on One Day at a Time, and we like kind of produced it together. He produced 90% of it and I did 10% and he lets me say that I produced it. And the stress of it, like when all of that is on your shoulders, I found it much harder to be able to be in character and in circumstance when your brain is also thinking about a million other things. And I've seen many of people come in and be like writer directors or writer producer directors, and they're getting pulled in so many different directions. It's almost like a wedding day, like where they like can't actually have fun and it's for everybody else because they're so preoccupied. So in a dream world, I would be so busy with acting, I wouldn't have time to do anything else. I think my next one would actually be casting if I wanted to
Oh,
get into
that's
something
interesting.
else in this
Yeah.
world. I love watching people's tapes. I love like whenever I did end up being in more lead roles and got to do chemistry reads, getting to see the behind the scenes of how casting actually talks about people and like it's so bad shit. And I think it would be so helpful for every actor ever to sit in a casting room and realize that nothing has anything to do with them. Um, but that part is fascinating. And I think having the right cast will make your project and having the wrong cast will break it. So I think I'd be more interested in that and then directing. Writing, I don't know.
Such an interesting answer. I don't think we've ever heard that. And what I love about it is too, it's like you would assume that like, someone who's acted like that would make a great casting director because now what, what you might need, and especially for like up and coming.
Totally.
Like if someone who's miscast someone that's maybe not ready for that specific role,
Yeah.
someone who's had experience can pick that out. And that you're right, it could make and break a movie because some of the movies you have, I'm like, wow, like how did they get this cast? It's perfect together. It's like literally like in this one was perfect. And it explains that you guys are all friends, and it like and it shows because the that emotion that's sometimes probably hard to bring up on cue at some points, I would imagine
Yeah.
it probably just comes naturally, and it's really cool. I love that answer though. I know, like the casting thing, but I do hope you do a lot more things though, acting wise too, so we can
Me too.
we can enjoy them.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, you got our vote. Whatever. They put you in something, we'll watch it though.
Thank you. Thank you.
So kind of piggybacking on that one, here's a kind of a it's kind of a weird one, but we like to ask it every so often. So if someone came up to you and said, "Okay, you have unlimited resources. Sky's the limit. You know, any set, any cast, any crew, anything you want. Budget's unlimited. What kind of project would you want to make?"
Ooh, that's fun. That's a really interesting question. I would want to make one of those like huge, epic, like the Odyssey kind of vibes, but all unknown actors. I think
Oh, I like
that
that.
like those big ones are always, of course, names and A-listers and like as they should, and I get it, and like it's a business. But I think it'd be so fun to do a big like fighting. You have to do like the training, you have to do the like I want 3 months of rehearsal before we ever even get on set kind of vibes. I think it'd be that.
Oh, I like
That's
that.
interesting. Yeah, I like that
Well,
answer
I mean,
too.
look at like Star Wars, right? I mean, other than a couple of people, those were all unknowns at the time. And look
Exactly.
at, it's and look what that happened. I mean, I think that did pretty well, I don't
I mean, it did okay. It did fine.
Yeah, I mean, it had a couple of sequels, I guess,
People know about it. It's fine.
I
Yeah,
know what you're talking
yeah.
about, like these historical epics, and it's like Brad Pitt. I'm supposed to believe Brad Pitt is like
That's
this
like suspension
historical
of
figure.
disbelief is hard when
It's
you're
really
like,
Yeah.
hard.
I
Yeah.
follow you on Instagram and I see
Yeah.
your fucking gym selfies every 2 days.
Yeah.
Like, shut the fuck up.
You are not a Spartan. I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, literally. Like, I don't believe you.
That's such a good
That's
point.
great.
It really would be cool because actually personally through this podcast too because we watch a lot of independent horror films and a lot of that is with unknowns and I feel like to me I love discovering that like I'm
Totally.
discovering new people I've never seen before in anything and see how good they are. I'm like, wow, these are I can't wait to see what they do next. It kind of adds something, when you've seen the same old actors and actresses over
Yeah.
and over again in these spots. So yeah.
And sometimes you're like, why are these people not bigger? Like, why are they
Yeah.
not in more movies? Because
And
they're
like
so
that's the
talented.
thing, like there are so many wildly talented people that will never get their make it moment. And to be able to like lend that to a group, to a cast that big and like have the budget. Because like you, of course, as an actor, you're so used to like you start in indies or you start in commercials, you start in these things where you're like, oh, okay. Like it's a lesser scale. And I think it's like college to be on a set where the stakes are that high.
Cool. I like that. You're killing it with these answers. You're coming up with such unique answers. I love it.
Thank
Yeah. So, are there any? Not to put you on the spot. If there's something you can't talk about, that's fine. But are there any upcoming projects you can tell us about?
I can tell you about Shrinking. Shrinking season 3 will be out January 28th, and I will be in that season, which
Oh,
was
nice.
actually one of my first ones of like big budgets, big budgets. And even for somebody who's been in the industry for 20 years. Oh my God. I was like, this is insane. Like, why are there 800 extras for a third of a page? Like, this is crazy. So you can see me in Shrinking, which, by the way, I think is another one of those that's a perfect cast. You like Bill Lawrence and his casting team and the way that he sees the way that people's energies match is brilliant, and it's a perfect show.
Nice.
Unbiased.
Of
Yeah,
course, of course.
Yeah.
that has actually been on my list of. I've got a backlog a mile long, but
I same
I
here.
will
I know
I
because we
will
had so
get to
many.
it. I promise.
Well,
I gotta
now I'm
tell
gonna
you,
rush and get to it. So, because
you have to get through those first 3 episodes. I don't know why the pilot I have found that people have a hard time getting through, but then once you're in, you're in. And I gotta say, it's one of my favorite things I've seen Harrison Ford do. I think he is so brilliant in this show.
oh yeah, I mean, I don't think he's done anything that's not good. So I mean,
Yeah,
he's like,
No,
totally.
never.
yeah. I think
People
he was
love
in that
seeing
little
that.
movie we were talking about before, right? I
The
think
one
Star
in
Wars. I
space.
think he was
The
in there
one.
somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Space
right. I think
Force, Space
yeah,
Force, something like that.
Space Force. What? Yeah, what is something? I don't know. I'm like the ultimate Star Wars nerd too. So it's
Oh
people are
my
gonna be
God.
listening to this will be like, okay, Brian, knock it off.
Enough.
We're not buying it. Not buying the joke anymore. But but so I guess to wrap things up, where can our listeners follow you and find out about all your current projects and upcoming projects? I mean, obviously IMDb, but any other
Our
places, sites?
notifications on IMDb Pro. No, you can follow me on Instagram at isabella.gomez. And I'm going to resurrect my TikTok. I'm hoping next year. No promises. Don't quote me on anything. But if you wanted to check it out, it's isabella.go.mess.
Well, yeah,
Nice.
we followed you on Instagram, so we have that. But yeah, TikTok is so funny. Tim and I have a TikTok. We started it. There's one video on it, and then we kind of like. I feel like we like how you were saying like you feel like you outgrew something or like
Mhm.
Tim like had to ask his daughter for advice, and she's like, "What?" He's like,
Oh,
"What is this?"
I'm officially like boomer status. Like, I
dude,
don't know how
and
to
me
operate it.
too, by the way. Like, I have to text my best friend's 16-year-old little cousin to be like, is this cool? And the answer is always no. So, like, what is the point?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I just like I have trouble even with like I don't know why social media and it kind of grew through like where we should have like Tim and I should have been better at it, but like I feel like it's so hard to like keep back and like I know there's times if you post at a certain time, you'll get the most visibility. And I feel like the most random posts I'll put will make like for our
Dude,
podcast will make like get a tons of likes,
yeah.
and then I'll make a really cool one, but I do it at the wrong time, and then nothing. It's
Never
like
get excited about a post you're gonna post because that one is going to do terribly.
I
Like, you
Yes.
can't care.
That's
it's like
probably right.
it was like it's like the weirdest things that like there was one comment I made on someone else's page and it had more likes than I think all of our things ever combined. And I'm like, it
Yeah,
wasn't even my good stuff. It was just a comment. I don't know what
yes.
happened.
Virality is there's no way to understand it. And I took like a few like social media workshops and like whatever, because there was a time where like people really wanted you to have a following to audition for films, which is also crazy. And it changes so fast. The kids, I don't understand the children. I don't understand the youth or their slang or things that they're doing. And I just, next.
Yes. Yeah, it's like if you notice when Tim said his daughter was 16, every time he says that, I notice one more gray hair pops up on his head. So the
I know it
stress on
does.
him
Oh
is
my
like
God. Yeah.
Like, shit,
and
I'm
I know his kids.
16
They're
and
like the
cool.
best. They're his kids are the best. They are so like awesome and like they're so mature for their ages and it's like but yet like just I think the thought of him having when Tim gets a teenager, he's just like nope, nope, it's too much.
You are
Yeah.
God's strongest soldier. I have teenagers in your home. Good
Yeah,
luck.
it's an adventure for sure. Well, Isabella, thank you so much for coming on. This has been like a delightful interview,
Yeah, it really has.
and
It's
we love the movie. Everybody out there listening, please go check out The Mannequin. Yeah, and anything you ever want to, anything else you want to promote, just drop us a line. We'll be happy to get the word out. And yeah, again, just thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely. I'll be back next time I have another horror to promote.